One of the best things about playing WoW historically has been the gear. And we took a dark turn away from that for a few expansions, with valuable items being over-systematized and feeling like boring bullshit chores. Legendaries. Dragonflight thankfully has changed that, so I'm here to tell you about the coolest items in 10.1 and how you can get them. There may even be an item that Blizzard deems legendary. So much so that they've tried to keep it a secret. You can make the new crafted gear, which means no farming outside of just getting the crests, which is fairly easy. Just get your Sparks of Shadowflame in Season 2, you get one every 2 weeks, with your first coming during the campaign. Most of the recipes for these, by the way, drop from the raid, and they'll be available in the coming weeks as more people get through it. Okay, time for the cool shit. Tailors can make the undulating Spore Cloak. It heals you constantly, I think every 5 seconds while you're above 70% health. And then when you drop below 30% health, it'll provide you a shield once every 2 minutes, which is amazing sustainability. I mean, if you were thinking of going back to solo an old raid, like this will be cool, be fun to have. Enchanters, you can make the Spore Keeper's Baton, a wand that grants a versatility proc to targets that you've healed. Or it'll deal extra damage and shield you if you hit a target, which basically just means, hello, Disciplined Priests. Double down on the Spore thing by getting the Spore Illusion from Dustmonger Topuz in Loam as a part of the bartering game. So yes, now mold is a selling point. I should say, these both do use embellishments, and that does mean you're limited with them, and the undulating Spore Cloak is not going to be a DPS increase, right? But still, I think that these are really cool. They're really fun designs. Now, if you're interested in the more fiery aesthetic, the Shadowed Raising Annihilator is a two-handed mace that lets you rain down Shadow Flame on enemies every 3 minutes. With the right mod, you will look basically unbeatable. Then Warriors and Paladins can use the Shadowed Impact Buckler. It's a shield that just constantly explodes with Shadow Flame, which is neat. Should note, these items are not the best performance-wise in the current meta. Tuning could change that, but I think they're just cool items to have, even if it does mean picking them up with your later Sparks to fill out your collection. Now, traditionally, we raiders would pray to RNG for the specific item that we want, whether it was for the looks, the effect, or the name. The good news here is that several of these are available in Aberrus, although some of them are tagged as very rare, so good luck. There's Jarun, right? Pillar of the Elder Flame. It's an agility polearm for druids, monks, and all 3 of you survival hunters out there. It's got an unusability that makes it explode in Shadow Flame and add waves of ancient lava to your attacks for 10 seconds. That's awesome, and as you could expect, you get it from Rashok. Then, if you're old enough to have to put on reading glasses before your quests, maybe you creak like an old door when you get out of your gaming chair, then this next thing will be familiar. It's called Ashkander, Fall of the Brotherhood. Obviously, it's a reference to Ashkandi, Great Sword of the Brotherhood, which is a sword dropped twice by Nefarian and allegedly owned by Anduin Lothar during his time in the Brotherhood of the Horse. This sword's name is a reference to the Brotherhood's fall then, which fits the lore, except when it comes to timelines and how the sword actually got there. You see, the Brotherhood fell toward the end of the First War, slaughtered by orcs who received intel on a secret training camp. Per Chronicle, Deathwing, though, was actually acting as a spy between humans and orcs at that time. He was disguised as a human noble and as a Blackrock orc. So clearly what happened is Deathwing fed the intel to Ogrim and possibly was even present at the battle, keeping Ashkandi as a twisted trophy and later modifying it. So, this is a weapon that's actually adding a bit of flavor to Deathwing's Warcraft 1 story. The weapon itself has a Shadow Flame proc that does double damage to humanoids, I think making it one of the coolest items added in this patch. Okay, we've reached the end of the weapons, but there are some incredible trinkets and a unique cloak that I think demonstrates just WoW's gameplay getting more crazy. So, in the last season of BFA, you might have seen players with fiery dragon wings. That was called the Humming Black Dragon Scale. It was a trinket, and it had a slow fall. Well, we've got a new one called Kazara's Screaming Black Dragon Scale. It's similar, but instead of a slow fall, it's a fall fast, letting you slam down from 15 yards high to deal significant damage. Not always useful, but undeniably cool. Healers can enjoy Rashok's Molten Heart, I really want this after my chill globe, a mana trinket that grants a random chance for a flood of mana and a healing boost. And plus, when that proc is active, your overhealing actually gives your target versatility, enabling you to maybe boost tankiness a tiny smidge? If you're willing to risk it for greater rewards, then Neltharion has class trinkets like the Calls of Chaos, Suffering, and Dominance. Chaos grants primary stats to the classes when they use AoE abilities, but it'll take 5% more damage. Suffering works similarly, but is based on debuffs and dots, dealing direct shadow damage, and then Dominance is for summoning classes, stacking a buff that grants a primary stat bonus when summoning your pet, but it slows you by 10%. There's some other noteworthy ones too. We've got the Zakali Chaos Grapnel. It's a grappling hook! That's cool. For strength users with a 90-second cooldown, 20-yard range, we've got the Elementium Pocket Anvil, a trinket that sharpens your weapon every 60 seconds, increasing Shadow Flame damage until combat ends, and that will stack up and up and up, which I suppose means it would be ideal in a longer fight. There's Ominous Essence, a Dragonflight-themed trinket that attunes to the Oath Stone of a specific Dragonflight for a specific buff, and then, to get the coolest shit, we gotta talk about Sarkareth. Beacon to the Beyond, a trinket with massive lore implications that opens a gate to the void and redirects the orbit of Anshul, the Cosmic Wanderer, to deal cosmic damage. Now, is this related to Anshe, which is the Tauren's name for Azeroth's son, which is also one of Azeroth's eyes, and Elun's twin brother? There's a lot! Shul usually means death, by the way, so is Anshul a dead or dying star lost to the void? Is it like a dark form of Anshe? Who knows? It's pretty sweet, though. I mean, if Anshe is, like, literally not the sun and is like some sort of being, it could indicate that Anshe isn't really seeing such good days. So, this is a giant, unreasonable tease from you, Blizzard. Give us more like this. I think whenever, hey, think about Dark Souls, right? It's all in that flavor text. But for this, it's a cool as hell trinket, because, well, you know, it's cool. Look at what it does. Next, we've got Voice of the Silent Star, a very rare cloak that steals stats from your allies. Yeah, when allies take damage, the voice can steal 4 allies' lowest secondary stats and then add a bonus to your highest stat. Now, the numbers work out that it's always a net positive. It adds way more than it takes away to your group, and it only takes away people's least important stat. But it is just a bit spicy, flavorful. I like that. Lastly then, we've got a unique dungeon trinket from Uldaman, the Time-Breaching Talon. It basically lets you steal stats from yourself in the future. You get a burst of int for 20 seconds, followed by a drop for another 20 seconds. So kind of fun for like your big burst windows. And then also the theme. Just like how today I've covered a bunch of Aberrus trinkets with all the Shadow Flame stuff that are really themed up, well, we anticipate having time travel related content, be it a raid or the mega dungeon. So I guess here's to having more wacky time manipulating effects. It's cool that the designers feel unleashed to just have fun. Anyway, next there may be something we've not seen in a while. It's a spoiler. It's a secret that Blizzard have tried to hide. In Legion and Shadowlands, legendaries were strong items. They were the core of your build, but they did not feel special, like, say, Shadowmourne. It's time for a change then. So, data miners discovered fascinating info with patch launch, suggesting that Evokers may take center stage soon. Not through a third spec, though. Ian did hint, though, that Evokers would be interested in something that Sarkareth possesses, despite us, when we look at Sarkareth's loot pool, not seeing any specific Evoker item. Fast forward to now, and the data in the live build has revealed 6 references to a scene titled Drakthir Legendary across different scenes in the game. Ian also said that there would be surprises for professions in the live build. Then, Dorvon, Wowhead's Frostmage writer, investigated this further. He found 3 encrypted crafting order records linked to the same encryption key, requiring numerous expensive materials. Encrypted spell empowerments and a map area were also found, with visible parts revealing a Dragonflight scenario set in the Maelstrom called Deathwing's Final Moment. So yeah, pretty cool. I've got to imagine this will be tied to the broken Oathbinder after the 10.1 campaign event, which perhaps could be fixed by the Drakthir and repurposed for good. Then an item tooltip called Nasuro, the Unbound Legacy, with an impressive item level of 457 has also been shared. It appears to be a recrafted Oathbinder. It's a one-handed fist weapon with intellect and an effect that is centered around empowering abilities with order magic, basically buffing allies. And that kind of aligns with the Drakthir legacy of boosting each other up that we discussed about in our third video about the potential Drakthir Evoker spec that had been all the talk of the town. Now, the authenticity of this bit of the info is uncertain. If it's fake, it is convincing. The weird thing is the owner isn't an evoker. The tooltip shows that it's soulbound, which either means it's a fake or maybe it's just leaked internally from Blizzard, as some people, I think Mr. GM has speculated. If it's accurate, then this would be cool. This would be a proper Warcraft legendary back in the game again, which I think is awesome. So hopefully, Blizzard's going to be able to keep on adding these really nice, lore-friendly, vibe-increasing items to the game, because this is the kind of flavor that actually makes a tier memorable. Right? Be it Voice of the Silent Star or Beacon to Beyond, just being able to, use it and summon in a big void explosion that's cool. But there is a little bit more. I want to make you aware, of course, the Black Flight set that is new looks awesome. And each armor type has 4 colorways. There's the one you get from the campaign, one from Farak Assaults, one from World Quests and Mob Drops, and then finally one from Rares and Treasures. So if you want to get that on every single character to look really cool and fill out all the things, good luck! It'll take a while. Plenty to do for the alts, but it does seem that this is how Blizzard is going to handle gear going forward, where we get class fantasy focused tier sets and then patch fantasy focused world content sets based on armor type. I think it's a really good model. Beyond that, I want to highlight just 2 other items. They're tokens that are really cool. One of them, it just gives you tier of your choice, which I think you should be aware of. It drops from Sarkareth at a 100% drop rate. We can assume 100% per 10 players, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, that just means that whenever you kill Sarkareth, someone's getting tier, for sure. Then we've got the second new Omni token Blizzard added. Basically, there's one of 3 ways to get this, right? And if you do get it, you just get to turn it into a piece of heroic raid level tier. Now, to get this achievement, you either have to get 1600 PvP rating, 2000 Mythic Plus rating, or ahead of the curve Aberrus. So, real nice, maybe by the time you've got your 3 slot, that's when you're going to maybe hit Keystone Master initially in the season, and boom, your tier set's completed. But then if you're really jonesing for it, this is an awesome thing that they've started doing in this expansion. This patch's version is called the Obsidian Aspectral Earthstone, and you get this for either 2400 PvP rating, 2500 Mythic Plus rating, or Mythic Sarkareth. Yeah, I kind of fancy my chances with that Mythic Plus rating a lot more than a Mythic raid. Anyway, what this does is it unlocks the extra cool looking glowy effects for every tint of your tier set. It's a really cool item. Yeah. Now this season also brings 2 full transformation dragon riding mounts. We've got the embodiment of the Hellforged from Aberrus, which you just gotta fly around with a sort of Deathwing looking situation. And then if you get 50 wins above 2400 rating, you get the Obsidian Gladiator Slither Drake, which just looks absolutely amazing. I will never get it. I think the only one that I could get is wins above 1000 rating, which you get enough of those and you'll get the Vicious War Snail. You should also note the Glory of the Aberrus Raider gets you a pretty neat looking fiery manta ray thing. There is of course quite a lot more, but today was just about the things that added in this patch that we think are the coolest, that we think you should know about. Because there's aspects of gear that are just more exciting now. They're just cool. The designers clearly were able to put more effort into them instead of just blah, there's just a bunch of items, it's boring. No, this is really cool, flavorful stuff. Yeah, man. Now, the 2500 Mythic Plus reward, I think for me, that's the big motivator, especially now that we have to deal with less affix bullshit and we just get to go and enjoy the dungeons. Should be great. So there you have it. Loads of really cool bits of loot for you to earn in this patch. Of course, with random being random, good bloody luck. It's a shame, I suppose, that the requirements of WoW Balance mean that you can't use these items for longer, because honestly, looking at the very rare items from 10.0, the very rare items in 10.1, some of these are just so damn cool that you kind of wish you could build a little collection of them and use them. But, yeah, that'd be kind of impossible to balance, wouldn't it? Let me know what you think. Anyway, GG Blizz, you're making loot really cool in the game again, and I really appreciate that. See you next time.